long time no see, everyone. Hello, it's been some time since the last video has been posted, and there's a reason to that. I've been very busy. I have been video editing, I have been making videos during the time that I haven't been uploading, but I just haven't had the chance to upload yet. It's been exactly a year since I came to Tokyo. Man, damn it, that's a long time. I wanted to talk a little bit about how my perception of Japan changed over the past year, or whether it has changed at all. Maybe a little bit, because it's the first time for me to experience life in Tokyo. But before I lived in Kyoto, I was quite carefree at that time because I was a student on a scholarship, so I had no problems. Friends around, lots of fun stuff to do, school was easy, so it was just an easy ride. But since I came to Tokyo, the reality was a bit different. Just the general atmosphere in Tokyo is quite busy, and that makes me quite stressed. Even though I love Tokyo and all the cafes and things to do and theaters, there's something to do every day. I love that aspect of Tokyo, but when it comes to this working style, it's suffocating. When I came to Japan, I didn't fully realize what working full-time means, so I wasn't totally prepared for that. Some things have stayed the same. For example, I always have a very good experience with customer service, as I've mentioned in other videos as well. Everybody is really kind. I have a wallet with kaonashi on it, and whenever I take it out, they start talking about Ghibli with me, and it's just so nice, you know. The time kind of slows down in that moment. And definitely, cafes are amazing, especially in Tokyo. Those cafes that I have been to so far, they're all so very different from each other, and sometimes you really feel like you're entering this magical world, and you just cannot understand, like, how can this cafe exist? Like, I feel like I'm in a fairy tale or something, and there are so many of those. Oh phew, that's my pants, they stretch so much. It's so fancy, and there are so many tall buildings, and everything is so shiny. And then you have these cafes that are just full of plants everywhere, and old furniture, some cats sleeping around, and this grandma listening to her radio, like a really old vintage radio, completely ignoring you when you enter because she's just so occupied with her Sudoku or whatever. And you just feel like, wow. Actually, I've also realized that I started to like onsens, which I didn't really like before, because I don't know, just made me a little bit uncomfortable. But recently I went to this amazing onsen in Gunma, and it completely changed my mind about onsens, and now I think onsens are like the best thing in the world. It was in the middle of the forest, there was a river, and they kind of built this onsen to kind of become a part of this forest, which was so amazing. Recently I've discovered solo karaoke, which was a game changer, because I go to karaoke a lot, but usually you feel like you have to go with someone. But since I discovered this one-man karaoke, I've been going quite a lot. I have definitely learned how to enjoy my time alone, especially when I travel, because I've been traveling alone for some time, but I was always thinking like, oh, it's a shame that I can't like share my impression with someone else. But recently I've realized that I have started to enjoy traveling solo in Japan. And my recent solo trip, and definitely one of my favorite trips in Japan, was in Gunma. Of course, I still prefer going with my friends, but since I came to Japan, I've become more accustomed to just going alone. But also, since I came to Tokyo, I've found things that are not so pleasant. Some of them I've already mentioned, like the stress, especially the morning train to work is the least favorite thing about my life here. First of all, I have to wake up really early, so that already sucks. Sometimes it's still dark, and just this stress, like you get to the station, and if you just come 1 minute later than usual, you see this crowd of people trying to get their spot on the train, so they just start running. And then I feel like I have to run with them, so I'm running with them, even though I would much rather sleep at that time. And nobody looks happy on that train. People are either sleeping or looking down at their phones, or they just look genuinely sad. I'm probably the part of the group of genuinely sad people when taking the morning train, because I really don't like it. Another thing that has been kind of frustrating, no, not kind of, very, very frustrating actually, is the paperwork. Everywhere you have to fill something out. Even at the pharmacy. Usually when you go to the doctor for the first time, they give you this first time visitor form that you have to fill in. But it wasn't my first time at this doctor. I had already filled that first time visitor form. This was my second time there. But when I came there the second time, they gave me another form for the second time visitors. I was like, why? Okay, whatever. I filled it out, and then I went to the pharmacy and I got the exact same form. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this. I don't get it. And another thing that I realized since I came to Tokyo is that I have to stay away from reading the news, because this year especially, whenever you read the news, you read something horrible. Recently there have been many news with famous people committing suicide, and I don't want to talk about this topic for a long time. Very often I read the news and I just am in shock, and I wish there was something that could help. Something definitely needs to change, and these kinds of negative emotions need to be discussed openly. People need to talk about the way they feel more. So I hope that there is a way to make someone feel better. I don't know how to finish this video because I kind of finished with a very depressing topic. I would like to end on a positive note. I hope all of you are doing fine, that you're enjoying your time as much as you can, and that you're keeping a positive mindset. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.